Recording in progress.
So I am actually this episode of the Alchemists and Quill live on my TikTok and taking questions and just kind of chatting it's hopping. Hello. It is nice to see you all. My little attic space just got really. So I did open the window to try to let some cool air in, but hopefully no one starts doing yard work outside or something. Hello. Oh, I'm so glad. So much fun. For those listening on the podcast, or I did a past life workshop on Saturday and we had a blast. Hello. Thank you all for joining the live. I am recording to the headphones an episode of the Alchemist Inkwell podcast. Today, that you have stuff or spiritual stuff, we're just going to go intuitively guided into this. There's no necessary theme or anything like that. Feel free to just ask your questions away. I'm not in that capacity, but just any info you want on psychic things or hanging out, chatting about stuff. Let's do it. I'm looking at the personal level. Today was my kid's first day of school, and I did both for a little while. It's really nice. So starting us off on the live with me. I really appreciate it. First, I meditate daily. No, or at least not in the way that a lot of people sit there and clear my mind and zen out in that way. No, I totally don't. I do channeled writing on a daily basis. I haven't always done that. That was a ping I got about 2 months ago, and I've been consistently doing it since then. Most of the time, my daily rituals, my daily routines are, I try to do at least something to connect with my guides or myself in a deeper way at some point during the day, every day. But that's about as much intent to preference. I feel like meditating that day in that way, I will. If I decide while I'm washing the dishes, which is another form of meditation, do that as well. So, but do I meditate in the classic way? Not so much. I just don't find it as important for me. The writings was entirely by my spirit critically. They told me very clearly that I needed to, and I have been in this. Show it to you guys. This is my massive channeled writing journal because I have to do everything as magical as possible, and for me to be motivated. Just a weird quirk of mine. Writing, that's a great question. So basically what I do for my channeled writing exercises, and there's a bunch of different things you can do with that. But basically the idea behind writing is using writing as a medium to open yourself, your spirit guides, your ancestors, your higher self, different deities out there, you name it, whoever you want to talk to. I'm talking to my spirit guides in that way. They wanted me to put it on paper because sometimes my brain and I get more clear mess that way. And I was being scattered about. What I do for channel is I will question or prompt about what's going on that day, something I'm feeling, and then go from there. The thing is I always make sure that I'm speaking to myself, writing in third person, essentially. So I'm using you, that sort of thing, so that it's sounding like it's coming as advice to me. And I always set a timer for anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending upon how long I want to write. The longer you go, the deeper the information. You're dedicating yourself to writing the entire time, to opening yourself up so that you have more information flowing through. This is really helpful for people who have a lot of claircognizance, which is that just knowing stuff. And it makes it like a tangible thing, like seeing or hearing would be, but it's putting it down on paper. So there's a lot of different ways to. Okay. I love your work. I've always wanted to know what guides, but I never felt any. Second of all, you definitely do have guides, I promise. Sometimes the easiest thing to just start doing is probably you're paying attention So your guides are coming through with validations in the physical realm, or maybe they're coming through with physical feelings or sounds or whatever it is. And you're thinking like, I just want to see everyone has the ability to spirit guides. You can absolutely do that. But it's in just one way. So I would start looking through your other senses, start asking specifically for a type of validation you would like to receive. I always say pick something in physical reality. Please validate me that you're there through this sound going off. Please validate me that you're there through letting me see this thing. Mine is rainbows. Whenever I need reassurance, I have to do that. When it's even close to synchronicity or validation, pause for a moment, run through your senses, see what you hear, sense, feel, know, taste, smell, it go through all of the things. And you're going to get a lot more information. Really quick and easy way to start really communicating with your spirit guides thank you guys so much. Things are coming. That is a loaded question, my friends. No, really, I am. And I keep looking at the energy. Stray away from alarmist language because that's never helped anyone or served anyone. Add more chaos into the collective energies, and that's not incredibly helpful. This is actually typically the real KristaLyn. They are an incredible astrologer. I highly recommend going and checking out their content or listening to because very like understanding of what's coming up. So I definitely say go check out them because I really have a lot of I think bad things are coming? No. I think change is coming. Do I think no. I do think that a lot of souls might not be super aligned. Like older people might notice kind of have like a mass leaving. It's the best I can say it on live, I guess. Negative way, just like people getting sick and exiting older generation people. But I think a lot of world change is coming. I just don't inherently think that it's negative. And it doesn't feel negative. It just feels great questions, guys. For the gifts, you all appreciate it. So a really weird thing just happened. My fire alarm just randomly went off. Okay, so whenever I have my phone go off or our fire alarm go off or anything like that, especially when I'm doing a channeling, that is a huge sign of validation for me. My guides validating me that I just shared is extra important. So the fact you heard your alarm go off, first of all, make sure your house is not on fire. But absolutely, that is a validation sign. Weird stuff. And that definitely feels like probably whatever you were just thinking or feeling or any aha you just had. That. Great question. Yeah, we don't need to no spreading fear. Spreading fear is not also wide sweeping statements. This is the thing that's coming, blah, 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 blah. I'm never really aligned with that. Yes, you might see something in collective. Even my like weekly energy predictions for those listening on the podcast, I do them weekly on TikTok if you want to check those out. I'm trying to make a sweeping statement about something that has to be the same for everyone. Looking at the collective energy way that you might be able to apply it or identify in your own life. And that dislike, and it feels and against my alignment. This sweeping statement of this thing is definitely coming when it can present in a million different ways for a million different energies. So giving a forecast better than warning, if that makes sense. Hello, welcome everyone. You're so sweet. Can your spirit guides work as partners? Like, are they always attached? Yeah, my spirit guides are I talk to today constantly, pretty much all of the time. They're always around. Not all of them are always around. Some come in and out. Some are there all the time, need something specific. Some were there before and they're not there anymore. But they do very much work as partners, as friendships. You have a contract with them that paid to work with them in like partnerships. They are in their own degree with them. they have to you and what you're doing. But for the most part, yeah, they are your partners. Throw things at them all the time. Literally every day. I'll be like, hey, I'm struggling with this thing. I'm gonna need some help. I need it to work itself out before I go to sleep on Friday. Figure it out or give me some clarity before I go to sleep on Friday. The more you throw stuff out, the see their evidence in your life, and it's really impactful. Awesome. My husband just dropped a drink off for me. Not that. Oh, thank you guys for sending this podcast. I appreciate it. Uh, let's see. How do I recognize when I'm hearing from my guides? What a great question. There's a bunch of different ways. The first thing I always want to stress when people are starting to talk to their not need to blind the messages you're receiving. You absolutely do. That is not a requirement in order to be spiritual. In fact, if you're like, oh, I think that was a message, or I think we're perfect to ask for support from your guides on that, to be like, I think I tuned into this. I think this is a message. Can you validate that for me in physical again tomorrow? So I know it's actually something in tune. It's not just in my head. That is perfectly fine. You do not have to blindly trust anything. It's a pain. Guides will definitely show up. The other thing is it depends on the clear sense you're communicating with your guides. If it's a just knowing, or if it's hearing, or if you're getting images, it really depends on how to know it's from your guide. Probably one that they're trying to get through. Start. Should I eat for lunch? See how whatever pops in, how it comes through. Does it come through immediately first thing that popped in your head, all of a sudden can translate into words? This is just how you're going to get to know yourself and how you're with you. And then you can expand to deeper questions from there. But if you're question, you can get it wrong or right off of that, it's going to be really half the time when you ask one of those questions, though, they're going to absolutely random into your space. So you'll be like, ooh, what should I wear today? And they'll be like, pineapple. Yay! What is put on later in the day that will be applicable. You never know. Sometimes just they're going to throw into a need, and that's how you're going to understand more and more you go. So much for being here. It's a lot of first timers on my lives tonight, and I. Can you ask your guides to attract? Perhaps not ready. So you can ask your guide help in that area, or to show you what you need to prepare, what your next steps, all of those things. Totally fine. You can absolutely do that. You can also say, hey, I really feel like I'm ready. I'd really like a romance. Please help bring them in. Totally fine. You can ask that of your guides 100%. Now, keep in mind, though, if you're asking what you need to do before you get ready for that, or what's the next part of your life path, you probably will be shown that. And so you want to make sure that you are already asking for that. Which I'm not saying it's going to be bad. It's probably not going to be something random might change, or you name it, but you are capable of manifesting literally anything you want. And I don't want you to think that you just have to give your guides all the power, because you do just have equal power in this as well. So make sure that you remember how well you can manifest too at the same time. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. Catching up. You guys are talking to each other in the comments too, which I really appreciate. There's a lot of really awesome dialogue going. Okay. I found 2 nickels and a penny the other day in an area where there shouldn't be any money. Guys, it can be. Very much so. Their validation for you. Like little things like that. Money. One of my guides sends purple crayons. I didn't pick that, by the way. And that's fine. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate you for sending me purple crayons and being around. His name's Arthur. We chat about it. So it could be if it feels like a synchronicity, if you have a reaction to it somewhere in your energy in your body, then chances are good it was from your guides, and you're getting that backed up with a full energetic reaction to affirm that for you. Awesome. Let's see here. Awesome. Sorry, I'm trying to read them before they escape me. Okay. I did have a reaction to it. Thank you. There we go. Yes, I have a reaction to it. If you have a reaction to a sign, then chances are good. It's probably a sign. They do when you give thanks at night, or when you give, if you're giving thanks then. You can think to your guides, you can talk out loud to your guides. Either way is fine. It's the intention that matters. To them, they difference, to be 100% honest. I appreciate the story. That throws me off a lot. Yeah, I'm the best thing at that point you can say. That's totally fine. Well, thank you. How do you know it's your guides and not an evil? Okay, so that is a great question. And I one. To your guide, find them. Most of the time, it is dedicated to you doing you stuff. They're not trying to convince you to do necessarily, unless it's like your own healing work. And at the end of it, you can usually, do I necessarily put a lot of stake in that fact that there's a lot of these evil spirits out there trying to harm me? Not. I've channeled a lot of spirits and energies in my like 15 years of having very active and awakened psychic abilities, and I've been a professional psychic for about 10 years now. And the of not evil spirits far outweighs out there. I'm not denying there's a thing, but that's what I would put at the forefront of your. Also, on that note, typically or level, fear of it being more a fear and a limited than it is necessarily, oh my gosh, there's these evil things out there. Look for, are these guides genuinely helping you not return? Like, if there was going to be an energy clinger, or in each of all, I trust your ability, probably is that you will feel wrong. So sometimes they can hide themselves, camouflage themselves, whatever, but it's still going to feel wrong after a little bit of time. And the things that they're going to be put to do aren't going to feel aligned with you. They're not going to feel fun. They're not going to feel intriguing or to better yourself. It's not going to feel that way. With your guides, it feel that way. So that's, but also everyone does. You can actually discern this, and that more often than not, when someone comes and they're like, hey, I think I've been working, it feels yucky, what do I do? With say they're face anymore, put anything like, going to shut out your guides because you contract with them, and you will shut that out. Is that from your space? Cutting exercises to make sure that they're not attached to your space. That can be done with candles and ritual. Do all of my stuff mostly energy, not a ton, with energetic grabbing cords, cutting cords, releasing them that way. So you have more power than you give yourself credit for, is the moral of that story, to be totally honest. Very, very slim. I'm sorry. The guy that sounds like a completely normal. Guys come from every capacity. And sorry, there's boba in this, which is why I'm chewing. And be talking to you in a bunch. Sounds like a computer. Chances are they're talking. Okay, I can tell it's you. And two, this is kind of funny. All right. Have a lot of thought on twin flame. I think that the conventional modern day definition of twin flames is inherently incorrect. And I've actually said this on the podcast before. We have a full episode. A bunch of people did just hop on. This is the Alchemist Inkwell Thursday. We have a whole episode on twin flames. I think the modern definition of them is accurate in a lot of different perpetuating kind of harmful ideals in a lot of ways as well. There's a lot of spiritual and new age concepts that I think have been twisted to become but harmful, like genuinely harmful. And I think twin flames is one of them. On a lot of like new age, etc. It sounds like an abusive relationship in a lot of ways, denying the existence and possibility of twin flames happening as in another part of you. But also I think of them more as a mirror for exactly who you are as a person. For exactly like all of your stuff is mirrored back to you and you mirror their stuff back to them in a way that's healing and high vibrational. You can have a twin flame that is you can have a twin flame that is, you might never meet them even though they're incarnated on planet at the same time. Thing where you get together and mates, you usually identify them because you can feel a bond capacity there. Ask your guides. I mean, you can understand when you've known someone forever, just because they're your soulmate doesn't mean they're your soulmate forever. And again, I'm speaking at level, you don't yourself into something just because you think it might be a soulmate. It's there to just teach you things as well. There's a ton of different possibilities and gambits there. But as far as the conventional, I've channeled a lot about twin flames, and I do think deeper, and I think in the class concept that tends to be publicized. And no hate to, and not like talking down who is aligned with that by any means, like their opinion based on my channeling experience. And soul family too. You can also have soul families. I mean, there's bonds there. I just think that the modern definition of twin flame tends to lend to a lot of pain, which I don't think is actually what it means. Can you recommend a book or another source for beginners wanting to reach their guide? So I do have some classes for beginners. Those are located on my page under the link space. And those listening on the podcast, you can go to my website to find them as well. They're there. So if you want like a beginner through channeling class, I do have that available. Talk to their guides. Read more fiction books. Fantasy fiction specifically, I know sounds kind of funny, but high vibration fiction is how we activate ourselves. High vibration fiction can act talking to your guides, especially stories which might have some sort of moment where someone has to talk really there. Try for you. As far as talking to your guides goes, work way better than you a lot of the times. And I cannot stress enough how I truly deeply believe that we are going to move forward. Storytelling is the way that we move forward, and relearning, it's like a circle back to the past in a really big way in years, and a own spiritual high vibration growth that's going to be incremental and through storytelling, through channeled high vibration activated stories, which is why I basically run the writing program that I do and talk about fiction books on my page a lot, because I think it's thank you. I appreciate it. Do I have a list of somewhere of all of my faves? I do kind of. I have a playlist on this TikTok actually of all of my favorite books that are high vibrational books that you can read that I think are awesome. But if you want to know more, I will do another video of a bunch of communication with your guides. Mhm. I have not read How to Read the Akashic Records by Linda Howe. I haven't done a ton of work with the Akashic Records. I have done a lot of work with your personal record space, which is basically a place in your energy where you people tell me that's what the Akashic, which maybe I'm too, have never had it called that, nor have I actually actively worked with a training for Akashic Records that I have seen in readings and such. Oh, I'm so glad nice to hear my perspective on things. Thank you for sharing that. Genuinely feel so honest to exist in this time when I can share all my like cool, weird psychic stuff and it's helpful and applicable. My goal with all of this, get a simple, fun, and empowerable, not just like and stuff, but just in my life in general, which is why most of my techniques and everything are simplified because I think it's everyone is able to access. And I would love it if like spiritual conversation in regards to like spirit guide stuff or how this energy feels is more like household conversation. That would be amazing to me, which is part of because I hopefully can make it as simple as possible for people to like talk about it. Awesome. Phone spazzed out. What do you view your personal records as? That's a great question. So it sounds, but it's really, really the way I view everyone's records is when I'm channeling records or if I've released a block or something for them, but it doesn't want to dissolve and their guides inform me that it needs to be records as something they've over. I will go there and it always shows up differently. I've never seen one that looks the same. And I know for me, it's showing me I can the person better, but I sometimes they've showed up as libraries, like that was an aquarium and all of maps and all the different records. One was just bubbles where in the room, and all of the bubbles had a different record. There was a cave once with crystals in it. There's of all of the different records that I've seen, because I think there's so. One was hats, and it's just really interesting and something about them so deeply. So when I say I'm like, I don't think I'm working with the Akashic Records, it's because half the time I'm like, into your records, and it was scarves. So how do you feel about scarves? And it doesn't necessarily feel like super good stuff. It feels like life. The one was a bunch of horseshoes. The woman I was channeling for had been an equestrian her whole life this time. Obviously for this incarnation, she like shaped her Hall of Records to relate her in this incarnation. It was really cool and interesting. So I have a ton of them, but that's how I see them. It's very different for each person. Very different. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys are enjoying that. I improve your energy. First of all, know that your energy is innately magical and you can absolutely improve upon it. So if you just want to send how to improve energy clearing routine, grounding and shielding, as well as an energy callback are some of the strongest tools and techniques that you can use to better your energy, feel better to like stand and get some earth energy space to so especially clear are a lot of the maybe density you're feeling in your energy or heaviness or anything like that isn't actually yours. You're just taking on the burdens of or maybe the areas you're in or collecting. Make sure that you're clearing your energy often. That is going to be one of the most important things to do. And then again, grounding your energy in some way, even putting your feet outside in the soil for a minute or this is one of my favorite visuals for grounding. Visualize an extension cord coming up from that and plugging into your cord, the socket, and it's where you're sharing energy that because it feels invasive and they don't like that. So it feels good to you. And that's totally fine. Sometimes even just feeling plants grow over you, part of the earth, and less like shoving into the earth can be helpful in that space too. Shield and go from there. But that's going to bring those things, clearing your energy multiple times a day, shielding it one day, and that'll start really helping you connect better with that. So I like the plug. That was showed to me in I guess I like 5 or 6 years, and I appreciated it a lot. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you all for joining this too. And again, this will be published on the podcast. Listening to already listen to it more, and you can totally selenite one. Yeah, you can absolutely clear your energy. I have a whole bunch of selenite in my hour of life on it. I have tons of surface to make sure that if I'm not consciously clearing, it's still clearing for me. My caveat with that though is make sure you clear your selenite at some point, either letting it run in a creek for a little while, putting it out under a clear that so that it does. Let me tell you, I have some broken chunks as well. Clear a lot of energy, but it also holds a lot of energy, and you are getting podcast is called the I run it with KristaLyn, who's a world-renowned page. If you don't follow them, incredible. And we have it posted on pretty much where podcasts are, Spotify, YouTube, you name it. It's on there. And we come out with a new episode every week. Mm-hmm. Okay. Really wonderful question. Do my friends' dead relatives come to me to give me messages? Do they know we don't speak anymore? Good, you're the closest one. Like, tell them, go away. Just messages from spirit, obligated to receive messages from that I am happy to die on, genuinely. Because people have this idea that once they have these gifts, they have to use them every moment they're open to using them. At every moment that something wants to come through and talk to them, you do not. Come to you and you don't speak anymore to that friend, or you don't even want to give that friend that message, completely fine. And you're more than welcome to be like, I appreciate that consent of the living message because they consent to do so, and I'm to you. And you can have that boundary hard and fast, 100%. You do not owe spirits anything just because you can. With mediumship, that's super. I have particular bones to pick with particular media representations of mediumship in show form, because teaching people a really good way to interact with mediumship and how, and also it makes you think that you have to be open all the time to these messages. The amount of times I've been in the grocery store and someone in the grocery store, brother or some closed sign, we are closed for business. I want to get them a message, tell them to find me in a different way, guides to push them towards me, and then I will give them a message if they do pay for a reading or something like that. But there is a million ways to get a hold of me. You don't have to. Messages from something like that, chances are good you're probably just the closest to it that they can act yours or she's see, but you don't have to honor it if you don't want. Wash it in water really quickly. How can I find the best place to live for me, astrologically speaking? This is a great question. And I did the podcast on this. KristaLyn is with oh my God, it was in my head and now it's gone. It's world astrology. They stretch your chart over the world and you can look at where the cross. Someone help me in this life, and I know what it is. It's not geo, but that my brain is getting stuck on, and that's wrong. But it's the, and where the lines cross tells you different things. Astrocartography. Thank you. I appreciate you all so much. Astrocartography is what it's called. If you want to use your astrology to find out where you should live on the planet, it's called astrocartography. KristaLyn can do it. We'll do an episode of the podcast so that we can talk about it more. What your guides say. Energy looks good for you, or the vortexes of energy speak to your vortexes of energy. But I cannot tell you based on your astrology chart because I have not been in that in the slightest. But we will do an episode of that because I think that's really awesome. I think mine was in the middle. One of yours was. The cool thing with that, your specific astrology, again, I'm not a master, read by Krista, is when you stretch it over the world, where your planetary placements are, those sorts of things, and see where are not good to live and where good places good for spiritual growth are wherever it is, because of uniquely you, and it's so magic. I also find astrology fairly confusing, but Krista has a lot of great resources on that, so definitely go check that out because it has helped me. I am not brain deaf in that aspect. Like my brain does not work in astrology very well. Energy, gotcha. Psychic, spiritual stuff, sure. But yeah, thank you guys for helping with that. By the way, it like washed right out of there. Okay. Can water communicate with us? Yes, it can, and we can communicate with it. I've actually done with water, communicating with bodies of water. Now, I live in Lake Tahoe, so I talk to Tahoe. Awesome. Necessarily think water is gendered, but asked if it's okay for me to call her she, and she said yes. So we're going that way. But water can absolutely communicate with us in a ton of different ways. You can also communicate with your water, program it with even just speaking into but yes, water can totally communicate with us and does very regularly. There's a lot of like anytime of water, different mountain lake, etc. If I meet a creek, I'm like, meet you, because it does have water is the most magical substance we have access to. It's really incredible. Do I do a workshop on tapping? I have 2 different digital courses that you can take about that you can do at your own pace, and I do workshops on occasion about different stuff that's a little bit, but the workshops are generally or the courses are generally good for that. So one, it's a 7-day course, and it's you're able to just everyone is psychic though. You definitely have those abilities, connected to them or like drawn to people like myself or other psychics or other spiritual people to do that. You're being magnetized towards us. Oh, I'm so glad you love Simply Sacred Channeling. Yes, it is in my bio. I don't know how that warm up here in my office. I do this from my attic, and there is not air conditioning in Tahoe. Usually it doesn't become over like 80, but recently it has, and it is warm. I get my spiritual gifts from. Answer to this is going to surprise a little bit. Play with them, have fun, and do more things that you enjoy. Generally, whether those things are like going out or crocheting or reading books, whatever it is, if it's something you enjoyment, excitement, intrigue, whatever it is, things that might also too. That is the number one way to get your psychic ability stronger, genuinely, because the more you're allowing into your space, the more of your abilities are going to and flow naturally. There's a ton of other ways other tips and stuff I have, and they're all over my page, but that is one of the biggest tips I can give everyone. Genuinely, it's going to help so much. What I think generational curse and how to figure out / handle those. Are they a thing? They can definitely be a thing. 100% they can be a thing. But also beliefs are things. Maybe your great grandfather on your mother's side believed that he would be poor forever, and he believed it so fully that is translated down through the generations, and now you're holding that belief. Starting with doing belief work in yourself, there's a ton of different ways to do this, more so than I could even talk through in the next 30 minutes. There's so many different ways to do belief work. Identifying behind the curse or what beliefs or thought processes you think of, those kind of things, and start information that's the opposite of that, and start saying that to yourself on a daily basis to release this block thrown in there as well. And that's going to do a lot. There's a ton of different ways to do that energy work though, and it can go very, very deeply. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Psychics be passed down through generations. Yeah, everyone has their own set of unique psychic abilities. However, if it's something that was really opened up, someone back in that work to open really connected, those are limiting ones that get passed. Oh, I think my bestie has a money block. How can she remove? Okay, this is another answer that you're probably not expecting. So one of the abilities is that I can actually see physical energy. I means I can see it with my look at the energy of money. It is the exact same as the energy, meaning the way money is just the way we have made the energy of trust tangible in this lifetime. So if someone is having a money block, they need to work on their trust stuff first in order to resolve that money block. So they don't trust they're worthy, whatever it is, trust stuff before money stuff, because that is where the root is, genuinely. Manifest those dollars. Yes, I love it. And ability, the deeper to manifest what, like, you are so much more expansive. You have that ability to do so. Personally, I'd tell the universe that I know they have my back. Heck yes, they have your back. Love it. So, like the energy of this group tonight. Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Do I feel like something big is going to happen in the coming weeks? I did address earlier on, and big is there's a lot of different kind of thought processes around the term big. I do think what we're going to notice last 2 weeks, where we kind of like nothing is really working, communications are coming up, everything feels really sticky and sweaty and icky, is going to start clearing. And I'm looking at collective level, so this is just the energy I've seen start clearing out, not 100%, but to the point where we can start get clarity a week. Even if we don't know how those ideas are going to get put into action just yet, which is going to be really helpful. At least, oh my gosh, at least I have some idea of where to go, what to do. That's at least something that can carry me forward till I figure out how it's going to work, big time. So that is coming up, and that's going to give us some relief and from all of this foggy. There is a lot of change coming over the next 2 years, though. A lot of change. Not going to say negative change, because I really don't think it is. I think it's just change. And it's us in very interesting ways. Change. Yeah. Thank you for saying I explained things. I appreciate it. Very, very much so. You were so sweet. I love being able to. I have been told I have a bad luck spell on me. How can it be removed? Start by pulling and releasing the belief that you have a bad luck spell on you. Then you name it, but first you need an initial belief of a bad luck spell attached to you, because you're giving it more energy than it deserves. It doesn't deserve any of your energy. Kick that out of there. Great question. Oh, pendulums and rods. Do they sense what you're thinking, or are they actually picking up on the true energy of it? The true energy of things, unless you're asking, you're in those sorts of space. One way that you can shift that is when you ask a question, creator truth or universe truth, where it's not your truth that you're that goes further. If that makes sense. That like overcomes that like initial brain of like, oh no, this is just picking up on my to get in your head. Just it's universe truth. It is in that way. My thoughts on affirmation writing. I think we have access to, as far as creating magic. That is why my handle is at liker of word. Why I write books. So I think affirmations are incredible. That you're install the affirmation is just as important as you're getting really clear on and affirmation after. Anyone have an affirmation with every like new moon, a full moon, and changing of the astrology signs to help get you through, because affirmations are really, really impactful to your life. Do you know any good meditations to do before reading tarot and just connecting with our guides? I encourage you that works for you. And when I say create one, I only mean like, where is your happy place to go? Walk yourself there in some sort of meditation format. Do you like to close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, visualize? Do you like to rest, feel your full body? Whatever feels good to you is going to help you be the most aligned. Some people, before reading tarot or energy reading or talking to guides, some people, like me, just go for it. And that's about it. And just dive in, which is a lot of my life. So that, if you know me personally, definitely it's very personal, very personal. Thank you guys. Can you speak to your guys' thoughts? Yeah, you can speak out loud or in your head. Both are fine. It's the intention that matters. They're not like send it to go to them. Can people block off their psychic abilities and not even know it? Are there ways to reconnect abilities? Absolutely. So for that. And for those on the podcast, this might be a little bit repetitive because I have said this on here before. But there is a magical river that's inside of us when we enter on planet. Everyone has one. It might be big or small or in various different degrees of being blocked off, but you got a magical river. Now, throughout experience, we do our very pollute the crap out. Like, oh, I had a traumatic experience, have some plastic. Someone said a bunch of really mean things to me, and now I've integrated all these limiting beliefs, chucking in some beavers, like river. So the first thing to unjam that river, releasing those things out of that river so that it can get flowing again. They have to. You do, the easier it's going to be to connect with your spirit guides and your psychic self. The fun you have, the easier it's going to be to identify where you need to release things and to release them from there. So that's a very simplified version, but yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. I got a message sometime when they're meditating to not try so hard, just to go to your happy place. Beautiful advice, your guides, no doubt, and I appreciate it so much. I'm getting a lot of tips. It's so great. Well, I'm cleaning done. I appreciate that for you. I'm saying this is someone who's a mom of 3 kids whose house is a disaster zone right now. So I'm so excited you're cleaning. It's so wonderful. Oh, we have the same birthday. June 12th. Happy birthday, twin. I know it was a couple months ago. Love it. Another birthday twin. Happy birthday, Heather. When I in my guides, it's chaos in here, conversations and stuff that works better for you to do your that is totally fine. Oh, you are so that's one of my favorite parts about TikTok live is like all of the little things. I love silly little things like hand hearts, Hawaiian hats, or whatever you can put, you put on for these. I just think it's such a fun, interactive, like playful way. And again, as someone who works very accessible, it's very magical and cool. So I love that. Oh, no. Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Episode of the podcast. I believe next Wednesday, live on their page to answer all of your tune in for that side of the podcast and doing a live episode again over there next Wednesday on the Real KristaLyn's page is where you're going to find that. Oh, someone was saying that they got woken up by your guides. I couldn't see your message, but yeah, your guides can sometimes wake you up. My guides have like, and I've like, oh, shut up and like, what's up? What's going on? And it's just me oversleeping. That can absolutely happen. Oh, I just got a fun cowboy hat for those of you listening on the podcast later, and a corgi. Oh, no, those corgis. This is so yes, right? The corgi. I love that. For example, if you are concerned about oversleeping, ask them for help. Be like, hey, I'm really stressing out about this. Can you please help wake me up? I would really appreciate that. They will in some ways. I mean, be careful what you wish for. You might get your guides. But and thank you for a little crown. I appreciate you so much. Nice. Then ring the doorbell when I sleep. Thank you, Spirit. Hopefully when you need to be somewhere, not just when you're sleeping in general, because that would be crude. I asked them to remind me. It's awesome. Good. Guys, I asked my dad and he called me. See, these are all wonderful examples. That's amazing. I think I have some guides that are aliens. Is that possible? Yes. Is that something? There's variations in that. So absolutely some of your guides might be extra dimensionals or extraterrestrials. That's totally happens. I woke up to yelling. That might be one of your, ask them about it. Can you channel insect animals? But I don't know about insects. What a cool question. Yeah, you totally can. You can channel everything. Everything is a consciousness, literally everything, including like these headphones that I'm wearing and this light. Like you can channel the consciousness. We have a dialogue. Hey, Mr. Spia, if you don't want you've got to let you outside because I have children here that I need to protect and I don't know if you're going to bite them. That sort of thing. You can totally, before I get my tattoos done, I always channel the ink to hold certain props, get it done. It's like an activated channel, the ink. So yeah, you can tune into the consciousness of everything. As far as turning off or on the flow, if I requested silence and on again, that is totally fine. You can totally do it to shut up. Be like, nope, I am not psychic today. Today I am going to the beach. I'm not psychic unless I'm about to get hit by a car. Don't talk to me. That's totally fine. And then you can turn it back. Is there a reason I'm an insect magnet? I work with the Fae, but the insects, I would ask the insects. Thank you for those of you who are listening in on the podcast. Thank you for being here too. This was kind of a different episode. Usually Krista and I hop on. We talk about the energies coming your way this week. We will interview people. We will talk topic. We're launching a lot of really cool stuff with that. Also, this weekend, we are going to be in Portland at Books, Gowns, and Crowns. If any of you are there, please come by and say hi. We can't wait to be doing readings and talking the Forgotten Storytellers, which is our writing program. And it's going to be really fun. So if you're going to be there, please come hang out with us. We'd love to see you. We're going to obviously post a lot of video and stuff. It's going to be really cool. It's in and yep. My address is, and I ordered they're incredible. Please go look at their stuff. And I can't wait to show you all what it looks like. I promise I will show everyone on here what my dress looks like. But yeah, if you're going to be at Books, Gowns, and Crowns, come see us. And if you're tuning into the podcast, if you guys are not tuning in, do so. It comes out every Thursday, and we are so, so happy. Oh, you guys are so sweet. So happy to be a part of this and get to be here for you all. And I will talk to you next week.